Big breaking news that is coming in, a sharp warning that is coming from Donald Trump, even as diplomatic efforts continue between US and Iran in Switzerland. Trump has warned Iran to stop Hezbollah allies in Lebanon and threatening fresh attacks if there is any escalation on the ground. He said, and I quote, Iran must stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they do not, we will hit Iran very hard again, just like we did last week, only harder this time. And this is what he wrote on social media. The remarks, in fact, they have come as Iranian officials and the US officials held another round of talks in Switzerland under a broader framework aimed at easing the regional tensions. Lebanon, meanwhile, remains a key concern. US Vice President J.D. Vance has said that progress has been made in preserving the ceasefire between the two countries, but he also admitted that the situation is still very delicate. So even as the diplomats talk peace in Switzerland, the message from US and especially from Donald Trump is very clear. Any threat from Iran's proxies could trigger a strong response from them. Let me get you more perspective on this and go across to my colleague Mayank, who's been tracking all the details. Good morning, Mayank. Iran is unwilling to move ahead with the next phase of the negotiations unless several conditions are met. They have imposed the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz once again, and all this has to do with Lebanon, and now Trump is also lashing out at Iran. Give us more details about what really happened in the meeting yesterday.
Good morning, Akansha, and good morning to the viewers. See, Lebanon will remain a tricky issue as far as the both sides are concerned. It is showing its color, actually, the way the things are moving ahead. The talks are now between three sides, even if Israel is not present there. It is between three sides, because Israel has been pulling its rugs in a way as if it is going to decide how the things will shape up ahead. Because if it continues with the operation, Iran is not going to continue with the talks, or the talks will not result in the way the people are expecting it. Why it is? Because, see, operations have continued on Lebanon from the Israel side, and this is what exactly Iran has never wanted right from the beginning. This we need to bring out, because to remind the viewers, as we had been reporting right from April month, when on 8th ceasefire was called, announced, since then there had been talk of Iran saying that every kind of operation should be stopping on Lebanon. And here we see, till the time the talks have started in Switzerland, the operations continue. And Iran has maintained that they'll pull out, or rather they'll forego even ceasefire agreements also. So it is going to be really tricky, but what we are hearing is actually some kind of a committee. Deconfliction committee has been formed, which might give it some kind of a roadmap or some direction, Akansha. But we'll have to wait and watch, Akansha. It's going to be really tricky.
Absolutely. It is, in fact, a tricky situation. And at this point in time, we're learning that Trump has once again issued a warning to Iran that this time he will hit the country even harder than he did last week. Stay on with us. In fact, I'm also joined by Matthew Foldy, who is a senior journalist based in USA. I'll come back to you, both of you, once again. We have another breaking update coming in. Let's tell you more about what's happened in the meeting that took place yesterday in Switzerland. It was supposed to be a day in which Iran and US would talk about the Strait of Hormuz, about Lebanon, as well as the nuclear issue and the related sanctions. But we are learning that the first round went well. Initial statements they were made, and then came the tweet from US President Donald Trump. As we showed you, he warned Iran that he will be hitting the country once again. And then there were multiple highs and lows in the meeting. Iranian delegation walked out of the venue in protest. We're learning that the delegation has also refused to continue the quadrilateral talks after Trump's threat. The Iranian media is reporting that delegation refused to continue the talks with US, Pakistan and Qatar in Switzerland after Trump issued a warning threatening Iran that it would once again bomb the country, is what we are learning so far. Let me go across to Mr. Matthew on this. Mr. Matthew, good morning. Do you believe Israel is turning out to be a spoiler in the negotiation? Because this has to do with Lebanon. In the last 1 week, we have seen continued attack on the country. Iran firstly blocked the Strait of Hormuz, and now they're saying that they will not be attending the further meetings there in Switzerland. Trump on the other side issuing warning to Iran that if the negotiations do not continue as they are, and if they continue to fund the proxies there in Lebanon, then he will once again restart the war. Your take on this?
Well, good evening here in America, and good morning to you guys in India. I think honestly, the spoiler is going to be Iran here, and Iran right now it's sort of acting like one of the mafia bosses that we have here. You have in Italy, where they can try and say we're not doing anything ourselves, and that's in part because the Trump administration decimated their conventional military forces, but with their hand behind their back, they're able to say to Lebanon, which is run by Hezbollah, as you were noting, which is one of the Iranian proxies that Donald Trump is saying you need to stop funding. Hezbollah has shown no sign of a ceasefire whatsoever. We saw earlier today Sheikh Naim Qassem, who is the current head of Hezbollah, which means he's one of the de facto leaders of Lebanon, has already said any version of the ceasefire agreement and the MOU or anything like that that the Trump administration and Iran are bandying about is not something that he's interested in doing. And this is a U.S. designated terrorist organization, Hezbollah, and they've been acting like it. We saw earlier today also Israel discovered this underground drone airbase that Hezbollah terrorists were using to fire off Iranian manufactured drones into northern Israel 3 years. So what I think is happening is Iran is trying to have its cake and eat it too. Say, we're here negotiating and try and just wait Trump out, get closer to that election that we have here in America in November, all the while doing what it's been doing, what its regime has been doing since 1979, and using these terror proxies, again, like a mafia boss, to be able to say, we're not doing anything like that. We're not killing anyone right now. Meanwhile, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas are able to carry out the Iranian regime's basically global chaos that it wants to be having.
Absolutely. And once again, Donald Trump has issued a warning to Iran that they have to stop these proxies from attacking Israel as well. Otherwise, he will restart the war. Stay on with us, Mr. Matthew. I'll come back to you once again. Let's tell our viewers about what Iran has said, because Iran's chief negotiator and parliament speaker Mohammad Ghalibaf has strongly dismissed the recent threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, saying that Iran does not take American warnings very seriously. He also argued that if U.S. pressure tactics had worked, U.S. would not be in what he described as a state of desperation at this point in time. He also warned that Iran's armed forces are prepared to respond if necessary, adding that while the U.S. continues to make threats, Iran will continue to act on the ground as well. On that, we have another breaking update coming in, as the Iranian delegation has also, at this point in time, refused to hold any dialogue there at the meeting there in Switzerland. We are learning that Iranian delegation has refused to continue the talks after the threat that has come in from Donald Trump. Let me bring in my colleague Mayank on that. Mayank, a refusal has come in from Iranian delegation. First, the walkout, and now they're saying that they will not be attending further meetings with Pakistan, Qatar and US there in Switzerland. Give us more details about what the Iranian delegation is saying at this point in time.
Cessation of operations against Lebanon is the point on which they have stuck. They've got stuck actually, and the way the things have shaped out, it has been continuing since last few days actually. So what we see, there had been statements made by one side, and there have been counter statements, but things have not got resolved in this case. Whether Lebanon is going to be peaceful or the way the things are there on ground, there will be some kind of a resolution. We'll have to wait, and until then, the kind of stand which is being made by Iran, it also includes one of the points which were part of MOU, based on which the talks have started in Switzerland actually, and they were supposed to go ahead. So it also speaks about cessation of operations, which is military operations on Lebanon. But Israel, as right from the beginning, this we need to highlight, is actually right from the beginning they have said, or they have shown practically on ground, that they never stopped with their operations as far as Lebanon is concerned, and they had been destroying the structures or silos or rocket firing bases and all, or places of congregation, as they had been saying, of the Hezbollah leadership in this case. So it is on that, and mind it, Iran's stand has been that they were even ready to let go or forego the ceasefire. To that extent, they had been taking sides with the Hezbollah in this case. So it is the same issue which has created this kind of a quagmire in Switzerland, and let us wait and watch, because talks have to take place and they have to move forward if we have to see some peace prevails in Middle East, and it helps the whole world to give a reprieve to the
countries have the next 60 days to finalize the deal, and at this point in time we're learning that there is friction between the two countries. First the walkout, and now Iran saying that they will not be attending any further meetings there in Switzerland. Stay on with us. I'll come back to you once again. We have another breaking update coming in. Round one of the Swiss dialogue between US and Iran has ended, with the negotiations now moving to the technical track. We're learning that mediators have issued a joint statement announcing a new framework, including a high-level panel to supervise mediation efforts and a joint committee to provide political oversight. The statement says that a roadmap has been cleared for the final agreement between the countries within the next 60 days, while a direct hotline focused on the Strait of Hormuz is now operational to prevent security incidents and ensure the safe maritime passage to the vital waterway as well. So the round one of the Swiss dialogue is over. We have a joint statement also that has been put out by the countries that goes on to show you that as far as what happened there, the roadmap that has been cleared for the final agreement. Let me once again bring in Mr. Matthew on this. Mr. Matthew, how do you look at the situation panning out in the next 60 days, even though the statement that is now coming after that crucial meeting in Switzerland clearly goes on to say that there will be a clear roadmap that has been cleared for a final agreement within the next 60 days. There will be a hotline as well for the Strait of Hormuz, so that there is no security incident there. How do you see the situation panning out? Because we've been seeing a lot of friction between US and Israel, with Trump issuing threats to Israeli Prime Minister as well, pulling him up time and again, and also now pulling up Iran as well. And this comes at a time when the crucial back-channel talks are also underway. How do you see the situation panning out?
It's a great question. So given that we don't know what's going to happen in the next 60 seconds, I feel like we might as well speculate what's going to happen in the next 60 days. That's going to take us almost to Labor Day here in America. It's going to take us to the end of August, that time frame. So what I expect, given that, is that the 60 days frame, it doesn't matter. It's not going to mean anything. There's no significance to what's going to happen, because Labor Day, which is in early September, it's that traditional start of campaign season. Now, of course, campaign season in America is getting much longer, but there is sort of that, it's a sticking point in people's minds. Labor Day is when the election starts. Labor Day is when some of Trump's closest allies in Congress, who are Republican, have said, hey, we want to give you until Labor Day to get this Iran deal sorted out. I just think that if you're going to go up until August 21st or so, which would be 60 days from now, Trump is going to want a lot of certainty before then. The other thing, just while we're sort of baselessly and somewhat baselessly speculating, is what is Marco Rubio's role on this? I think as Secretary of State, as National Security Advisor, he would be one of the logical people to be handling these negotiations with Iran, with Pakistan, with Qatar. The fact that Vice President J.D. Vance is there, he was one of the people who was more skeptical of any possible diplomatic or any possible military action against Iran. He was pushing more of the diplomatic route from the beginning, which to me, I think, says that the Trump administration may be entertaining a military option a little bit more than it's willing to say here.
All right.
Or just that Vance is going to try and see, he's wasting valuable time that I'm sure he'd rather be spending on the campaign trail over in Switzerland. He's going to see if they can get something done. As you guys were noting, the Iranian delegation is storming out, so that seems like it's not working. Meanwhile, you have Marco Rubio, you have Secretary of War Pete Hegseth still here in America, so maybe they're cooking up what that alternative to peace could be. And I think the important thing there is that Trump has shown a willingness and a credibility to hit Iran where it hurts. So if they want to walk away from the negotiating table, I think that conflict is probably going to resume.
All right, so it remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming days, whether the two sides will be able to finalize the deal in the coming months or not. Thanks so much, Mr. Matthew, for getting us all those details and putting that into perspective. On that, we have another breaking update coming in. As far as the Iranian foreign minister is concerned, we have a statement from him as well. He has said, and I quote, that tireless mediation efforts by Pakistan and Qatar have delivered major progress towards ending the war in Lebanon. In fact, in a statement after the first round of US-Iran talks in Switzerland, Arakchi has pointed to steps including sanction relief, the release of some frozen Iranian assets, and a reconstruction plan for his country. He said that the first real test of the emerging agreement will be the newly established Lebanon deconfliction cell, while describing the opening rounds of talks as the frosty start. As we have seen that the Iranian delegation walked out, they have also said that the Strait of Hormuz will also remain closed, and that has to put pressure on US as well to, in fact, as far as Lebanon is also concerned, with the statement now coming in from Iranian Foreign Minister. He has described the opening round of talks in Switzerland between US and Iran as a frosty start. We'll continue to get you more details on this. With this, a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.